So many cars, yet so few plugs. Welcome to the Urban EV Podcast, where we speak to industry leaders and EV owners with boots on the ground to read the tea leaves on the direction of the green energy revolution. I'm your host, Rob Hoffman. Today's episode is all about the Kia EV9, one of the most talked about three-row EVs on the market. And our guest today is Todd George, a Kia EV9 owner who recently transitioned from a 2024 model with the CCS port to a 2026 model with the new NACS port. Todd is also an active member of the Kia EV9 Owners USA Facebook community as well. Now, that's where I met you, Todd. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me back. I may have the distinction of being the first return guest, but I'm not the most distinct guest. But, I've got some very impressive guests on the show. Some very impressive.
You are my first official re-invite to the show. So, Todd, I met Todd on the Facebook EV9 Owners USA forum, and I probably was on there even before I purchased it when I was kind of doing my research. Todd is a very active poster over there. He brings a wealth of knowledge. And in the beginning, we brought him on. We were kind of talking generally about the EV9 and more of just about the EV ownership experience, road tripping and whatnot. But we've kept in touch, and you've recently upgraded to the new 2026. So I really want to get into all of the things, the good, the bad, the ugly, about what's going on with the Kia EV9 and how the new experience has been so far. So let's just back it up real quick for those that didn't listen to the first show. What drew you to the EV9 originally?
Of the fact that it was a 7-seater EV, and I was curious about EVs. Having rented a Tesla at the airport, and this seems like, it's very, very cool and cutting edge. And, I knew just this much about it and, enough to get into a lot of trouble. Went to the dealership one day, walked out with one a few days later, and that's been it. It's been 2 years of my life now, almost.
The rest, as they say, is history. So you got a 2-year lease on that 2024, correct?
It was 3. It was 3 years. It was supposed to be to 2027. Didn't make it that far.
All right. So let's talk about, once again, we're going to talk about the 2024 model right now. Let's talk about your day-to-day experience, performance, software range, comfort, all that good stuff. And what other models did you even consider another model? Or there really weren't any 3-row SUVs outside of the Rivian and the Tesla Model X at that time, correct?
That is true. And at that time, no, that the Kia was the one for me because I don't know what else to say about an old school car person. It was just, I knew that Kia was a national brand. And if I needed to get service or issues with anything like that, it wasn't like I'd have to hunt high and low to find a Kia dealership. There were Tesla dealerships and here in Southeast, or where I live in Southeast Florida, they're plentiful. It's a different, because of the demographic and the market. So it wasn't like I would have worried too much. Rivian, the car, but it's almost mythical. It's like a unicorn. I've never even seen a Rivian dealership anywhere. They just appear out of nowhere. And there's like this little tone that you hear and you're like little tone. And they're like, oh, that's such a beautiful car. And I think I've talked to like one person that owns one, but just didn't have, I was like, well, I can't do this. I can't do it because if something happens and I can't find anyone to help me,
Ironically, they happen where I live in Brooklyn. They happen to be prolific. There is a Rivian dealership nearby. I believe there may be several actually, but I don't want to call them a dime a dozen, but I don't even raise an eyebrow now when I see one. They're everywhere. So that consideration, at least for me, wasn't on the table because that's a very, very valid consideration. Where I get this service, to be quite honest with you, was the price that kind of scared me away from Rivian.
That's the end. That really ends the conversation. Yeah. When you hit that 89, 88, you're like, oh, yep. Okay.
Yeah.
We're good.
It was a little up there, and it seems like an incredible car, and I think the owners really love it. But yeah, in the end, the price is the price, and it was just kind of out of my range. And I know that's the case with a lot of people. But ironically, right now, here we are today, and there are a few more options, including the Hyundai Ioniq 9, which essentially is a rebadged EV9. It's the Hyundai version of it. I believe it even has a bigger battery. I don't think it looks as nice as the EV9, but it seems like it's a really good, well-reviewed car. But okay, you chose the EV9, as did I. Why don't you talk to us in general about your day-to-day experience with the size, performance, software, range, comfort, all that good stuff.
So early on, I had a very it was a trial by fire, learn as you go experience, learned about a better route planner, plug share, so on and so forth. The vehicle itself, in terms of comfort and all, has worked out very well for me being the driver. The thing I didn't anticipate was that I'm in a blended family and the kids grew, they that
That's what
size.
happens, Todd.
Yeah. It was like, damn, dad nabbit feeding you and look what's happened. They grew and they're lanky teenagers now, and they're, with that whole lanky attitude, they were just, they do this. And it's just, and everything is pushing seats back and everything like that. But there's still room and they make it work. They make the third row work. The middle row is constant consternation of who's going to sit by the windows and who gets stuck in the middle. But it does work. It functions.
By the way, Todd, I just have to interject real fast.
Yeah.
There's one way you could have solved that issue, and that's get the captain's chairs like I did. There is no middle seat,
That's
so
right. It just
don't
eliminates
argue
that.
about that sitting there because it doesn't exist.
Yes.
Granted, now I can only seat 6 in my car, and you can seat 7. So,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know,
Mhm.
there's already been a few times here where I'm like, damn, I really wish I had that extra seat here. We need to carry more.
Yes. So we've been able to do the 7. Luggage is tricky. Luggage is tricky. I come from a very, they're hard scrabble in the sense of, yes, we'll pack exactly what we need. And they've got that perfected down pat. And I think that's because there's a big family and they just know that I can't do it. I'm like, I need 3 pairs of pants because you don't know what's going to happen. They're like, nope, nope, nope. I'm only here for X amount of days. I've got this, this, and this. And so it's all backpacks. And so backpacks work great. Luggage gets a little tricky. You can get luggage in the back of the EV9, and we've done it, and it's happened. I have not put the roof rack up or anything like that. So with regards to storage, you have to just do a little forethought. Little forethought.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's not a full size
Mm.
Chevy Suburban type EV. It's kind of like a mid-size SUV. And I think no matter what, you're going to have some compromises when the third row is up. There is room back there behind that third row. I agree with you, but it's not massive. And if you really have the car filled up, and with you, once again, 7 people as opposed to me, 6, I can see how you could potentially on a long road trip run out of space. And then you have to get into, do I do the roof rack, which by the way is you get a hit in efficiency. I actually have the trailer hitch option. So you can kind of put you can put a luggage carrier in the back there, which supposedly you barely hits the efficiency because you're kind of like, you're sort of like hidden in a wake
Mhm,
shadow over there,
mhm,
so you can kind of pile more stuff there. But I've never gone there myself personally. All right, so storage space, good, maybe
mhm.
not
Yeah.
great.
Not
Now
great,
you're
but efficient, and it gets the job done.
all right. So we're all in agreement here that it's a truly it is a true SUV. It is a utility vehicle and it can do a lot of things.
Yes.
Let's talk now. The big difference between the 24 and the 26 that you have is the CCS port that you have. So you came with the original CCS port, which was standard fare back then. Now everyone's made a deal with Tesla, where pretty much most new cars manufactured today, including Kia, do come with that NACS port. They had just opened up, even if you had the CCS, if you put an adapter on, you could start using the Tesla Superchargers. What's your experience been like? What's the difference between driving around with the CCS and now driving around with the NACS port? Oh boy, that
Um,
pause gives me pause right now. I'm a little concerned. That was not the answer I was
no,
expecting.
no, it's not been horrible. It's not been horrible. Like you, I public charge. I have straddled the fence between getting the home charger, and now, thank goodness I didn't, because it would have been the J 1772, as opposed to, the NACS. I mean, and there's an adapter for that. It wouldn't have been the end of the world. I could have swapped that out. But yeah, I've done public charging exclusively since I've owned the vehicle. And so was very, very well indoctrinated into the world of Electrify America, the Florida Power and Light, the EV Go, and Blink. So I had my network. I had my go-tos. I knew where to go. I knew the times to go. I had it all down pat. So I was like, and then here's NACS. Okay, great. But it's a whole
Yeah,
different
but it's
world. I
that's
mean,
like a behold the future kind of moment, right? This is where we're
mhm,
all going. So wonderful.
mhm,
I got a car that's got
great.
a native NACS port in here.
Mhm.
What could possibly go wrong?
I don't know the charging network. I didn't know the protocol. So, but yes, in theory, very lucky again being in Southeast Florida. Wawa, the little convenience store, struck up a deal with Tesla ages ago, and they have the little Tesla, charging stations, and they usually have like 8 to 10 per location that they have them, and they're not at every Wawa, but they're there. So okay, fine. So that's my new world. I go there. 'Cause the guy that 'cause my dealer at Kia was like, "Well, yeah, it's got an adapter." And it did. It was a J2 to J1712 to, so it wasn't the one I needed. So anyway, so I'm like, "Okay." So I held out. I got the car at 30%. I had 100 miles on it when I first got it. So I held out that whole weekend because I knew I had to do it. And I'm like, well, let me just do a little research. Let me do a little research. And I already had the Tesla app, and I was aware that Tesla had a subscription and all of that. And it's like $12.99 a month to subscribe, and you get a reduced rate. And you can look on there and you can see where all the charges are, so on and so forth. So I went tentatively on the Sunday. I got the car on the Saturday. Tentatively Sunday afternoon, I drove to one. And it's different because they all back in and they're all lined up and they've got their
Well,
little
that's
system.
problem number 1. Problem number 1, when you have a non-Tesla, the Tesla port happens to be in the rear left of the car. The
Yes.
EV9, it's the rear right of the car. The V4 chargers, I believe, have longer cables, but the majority of the chargers out there are V3 with very short charging cables, which means, drumroll please, Todd, what does that
It
mean when you go to
sucks.
pull
It
in?
sucks. It sucks because you're taking up a spot and, people are like, first of all, you're not even supposed to be here. Why are you here? Because your vehicle is not a Tesla. Why are you here? So there's that, Yes, it
But you
sucks
have to
because it's
gobble up 2
choose
spots to
or,
charge,
or
and if it's a
the
real
one at the
busy
corner, the far one at the corner. But the EV9 has worked out very well. At least I slide right in, not a problem. I
I
haven't
mean, is
offended
it not a
anybody yet.
problem or is it a problem? I mean, if it's a busy day,
If
I
it's
imagine
busy,
that you
mhm,
you may not be, if there's one slot available, one stall available,
mhm.
yeah, I imagine that means you can't go in. You've gotta wait till the next one opens up so you can take up 2, right? Or is there a workaround?
Well, the workaround is that I've been lucky. That's the only way I can explain it. I've been lucky. I've been very fortunate, very lucky that I've gone at times. And I also found out that the rates go down considerably at that, horrible hour when no one's supposed to be, doing anything anyway. So the rates go down significantly, but I've been lucky and I've charged and not been an issue and been in anyone's way. But I have done it twice where I've parked and yeah, there's one right over here on my left that someone could have used, but they
Mhm.
can't because I'm there. They can't get
Yeah.
there and nobody's coming and I charge and I boogie away. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
but
almost like I know, it's like
Mhm.
by the way, because my
Mhm.
I've charged twice on a Tesla Supercharger
Oh, okay.
since I finally received the adapter, so I was really eager to give it a shot, and ironically, this past week is the first 2 times I tried charging on a Supercharger,
Mhm.
and yeah, it's kinda weird, it's almost like I feel like I'm hanging my head in shame as I gobble up 2 spots, and I don't belong here. So but on a positive note, the Tesla Superchargers, they tend to have a boatload of stalls. It's like they overproduce them, which is terrific. It's the exact opposite of when you go to Electrify America or
Mhm.
really any
Mhm.
other of the
Mhm.
mainstream providers where it's like, all right, you've got 3 to
Yes.
choose from, and they're all book solid, or
Book
maybe
solid
with
or
just
rocking.
one. Yeah.
Yes,
So
yes.
that's the good news. There tends to be like, oh, I can pull up to Tesla and there's 8 stalls available, if not even more, 12, which is awesome. So, I mean, I don't have the breadth of experience you do, but at least those 2 times I pulled up, I had ample room. There's only like 1 stall being used.
Yeah.
That's good. Let's talk about rates though. So you subscribed, I did not because I'm not using them regularly. Did you pay attention to how much you're getting charged per kilowatt hour?
Yes. Oh, yes. So in the daytime, it's 37 cents a kilowatt.
Mhm.
At midnight to 10 AM, 19 cents.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah,
For a
yeah.
supercharge.
Yeah.
That for
Yeah.
DCFC, that is insanely cheap.
Mhm,
For all
mhm.
those out there listening, it's common to pay 40 to 50 cents per kilowatt hour. So that is an incredible, a substantial savings to the point where it's almost comparable to just charging, level two charging, AC charging overnight with your own home charger. The rates are getting close to that, which is absolutely incredible to hear that you can actually get away with 19 cents per kilowatt hour. That's a real big bonus and a real reason to subscribe to the plan, which you said was how much? $12 a month?
It's $12.99 a month. Yeah, and I've only had it. Yeah, because I haven't even had it a month yet, but I think it's paid for itself in my
Oh,
charging.
yeah, I think it'll pay essentially in one charge. I mean,
Mhm,
maybe two.
mhm, mhm,
That already, once again, I paid, I believe, over 50 cents a kilowatt hour when I charged the last time.
mhm,
But there is another downside to charging at a Tesla Supercharger with the EGMP platform. That's the platform that all Kia and Hyundai EVs are on,
mhm.
and that's because it's an 800-volt architecture. While all I think the Cybertruck now is 800 as well, but all the original platform Teslas, the X, the Y, the S, are 400-volt architecture platforms.
Yes.
And without getting into the physics of all of this, it has to sort of be like down converted from when you're charging it from 400 to 800, it will only accept half speed.
Mhm.
So that's with my car. I don't know if there's any difference now with the new platform with the native NACS. What are you getting? What charge rate are you getting with your car?
126 every time, every
You
place I
are.
go. 126. It'll peak at 127 for a millisecond, but it's always 126, and it
Well, that's
stays right
good.
there. Mhm. I heard that the 24s were like 87 kilowatts,
I'm
right?
getting in the 80s.
Yeah, 87 is what I was hearing. So I'm doing 126. It's 30-minute, 40 minutes a charge, so it feels like
It's a little slower than what
a
you'd
little
get on
slower.
a hyper fast charger,
Mhm,
once
mhm,
again
mhm.
through EVgo, Electrify America.
Yes. Yes, yes.
I feel like 20 to 80, I could get there in about 25 minutes when things are humming, which is awesome, by the way. I love that amount of charge time. But
Mhm.
30 to 40 is still respectable. Not
Mhm.
perfect, but respectable and competitive enough. And obviously, you still can charge at the other chargers as well, correct? Did the car come with now a CCS to NACS adapter?
Mine
Did not.
didn't. Mine didn't. Mine came with the J17 to 72 adapter to NACS. And the dealer was like, "Oh, yeah, it's got the adapter."
Yeah,
It's
yeah. Yeah, I was told I was gonna get my adapter for months before it actually arrived, but it
Mm,
did eventually. Of course,
yeah.
you could pay for your own, but who wants to
Yes,
do
yes,
that?
yes.
But theory, though, you should be able to pull up to a CCS,
Mhm.
a charger with CCS cable, and plug it with an adapter, plug it into your NAC port. Correct?
Yes, that is
There aren't any
correct.
bottleneck or any other kind of compatibility issues. Correct?
From what I understand, no. My biggest hang up is I just wanna get something that has been sanctioned by, Kia.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I don't wanna plug something in and something happens, and the Kia's like, "Well, what did you do?" And,
Void your warranty. Yeah,
yep, yep,
I've
and
been
void,
through
void,
that.
void, and I'm like, I can't. For the because it's no hassle to find a Tesla charger. It's not like I'm in like Missouri or someplace where there might be a charging desert. So there's no excuse. It's just
Well,
a matter of
it's funny you
convenience.
should say that, and this is the reason why I knew the performance on at least in the 2024 models was not as optimal
Mhm,
as it would be on the CCS chargers.
mhm,
But I knew I wanted to get the supercharger access, the NACS access,
mhm,
because there are charging deserts out there. And chances are,
mhm,
if you're in a charging desert, there's probably a Tesla supercharger nearby. And that's exactly what happened to me just this
mhm.
past weekend when I went to drop off my son way up in northern Connecticut on the Massachusetts border, really far away from any highway. And we were
My
in a
home
ruts.
state betrayed you. My home state. I'm sorry. As a nutmegger, I'm sorry.
And you should be because I had to actually travel across the border to go to New York to actually find a charger. Just for the record, I ended up in Red
That
Hook.
sounds about
So
right. That sounds about right for Connecticut. We're like, well, no, 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 we don't want anything to do with it. Go to New York or go to
so
Massachusetts.
We were late. There was a window. We were traveling a
No.
really long distance to get up there. I'm like, all right. I knew I'd arrive with about a 25% state of
Mhm,
charge
mhm, mhm,
up at the camp. And I'm like, I'll figure it out from there. So I
mhm,
did that.
mhm,
And I started looking around. Of course, there's nothing nearby. And there's something I've learned also, which has nothing to do with EV9s. When you're, whatever your route planning app, or even worse, probably for me, is if you're using Google
mhm,
Maps, which I do like because it identifies chargers all over the place. But I've
mhm.
learned this the hard way. When you see a charger and you don't pay attention and it's at a car dealership, that does not mean you're getting
Yeah,
access to that charger.
no.
It could be indoors, it could be
Mhm,
in the garage,
mhm.
or it could just be blocked by
Yeah,
their
with another
cars,
vehicle.
their
Yeah, God
vehicles
knows what.
that they're selling. They don't care.
Yeah, they don't care. Mhm. You're
So
right.
it's like you do not want to count on that when it's like, oh wow, I'm really running on fumes right now, and I
Mm-mm,
need to make this
mm-mm,
charger. That is a hair raising experience, and that's exactly what I did. I broke my own rule because my internet was spotty up there as well,
mhm,
and I got a glimpse like, okay, there's one over here in this town. Let's go for it. It's exactly what happened, and now I'm down to 17, 15%, and I'm still in the middle of nowhere. And I'm like, all right, now we got problems. But there
mhm.
was a Tesla Supercharger, another 15 minutes away from there. Got to it, no problem. Filled
There
up.
you go.
It was sure it was a little slower, but it happened to be
Mhm.
right in a Hannaford supermarket. So we went
Yeah, yeah.
shopping. So it all worked
Shopping,
out
yeah, you're
fine.
fine.
But Tesla Supercharger saved my bacon. So yes, I'm just happy I have access. And for it's interesting, you've got a different sort of directive now because you don't avoid your warranty, so now you're kind of avoiding the CCS chargers. I, on the other hand, now still gravitate towards them first, but I love that I have the NACS
The option.
as an option with my
Mhm.
adapter now. So those are
Yes,
all positives. Okay.
yes.
So I think we've kind of beat that subject to death right now.
No
Can you
worries.
tell me more about the difference between the 2024 and the 2026 model? Did you get
I can.
the same trim level?
It's a wind. Yes, it's a wind. So I went from wind to wind, apple to apple.
Mhm.
The It was a gray one, this one black. I will say this, although I have to finish my thought first, Rob. The thing I love about you is that you are Lewis and Clarking the hell out of this thing, man. And if you haven't thought of it yet, you got to start writing down a little book because it's going to be yes. There's a book in this. There's a book in this.
Well,
All the
this all my
hard-won
conversations
knowledge.
get transcribed. Maybe I'll just throw that all into some AI generator and say, "Write me a book about
Write the
my
book for
EV9
me. That's right.
experience."
That's right. But I love it. I love you for that, man. I love it.
I
You're like, oh yeah,
appreciate that.
a few miles to get there, but I'm gonna do it. Internet be damned, and just we're doing it. And just
I'm doing it for the clicks, not
that's
to
right.
put
That's
myself
right.
out there to get
That's
into these
right.
crazy experiences so I can talk about it here on this podcast.
That's right. But to your question, first things first, build quality. This car is very American. The first one was Korean, and I didn't even realize how Korean it was. Like I was thinking about it the other day. There's stickers everywhere in my car now. The first one was like, yeah, it's a car, here you go. But this one's got the like, oh yeah, watch out for the airbags, watch out for this, safety stickers because it's American, It's like, the first one, the 24, was like, you're familiar enough with the car to know that, or if you're not, you're gonna learn. Good luck. But this one,
So
there's
that
just
required you a good half hour of peeling these stickers off. That was the first experience you had, was you have to
well,
devote more
that's the
time to
plastic. That's the
de-stickerizing the
protective
car.
plastic. Yeah. But no, what I mean is like the visors have those little, caution for
Yeah,
airbags.
yeah.
I don't remember the 24 having that.
I don't
I
think it
really
has it.
don't.
I think
I
you're
don't
right.
think it does. I don't
Yeah.
think it does. I was like, holy
Not that
what?
anyone reads those notifications anyway, but
Safety
I think that was a
schmafety. The
good thing.
Koreans are like, safety? No.
You're fine. You're safe
You'll
enough.
be all right.
Be okay.
But yes, to your point though, yes, when you get it from the dealer, there's plastic to peel off everywhere. And the youngest kids love it because they're like, oh, can I peel that plastic? And I'm like,
I
no.
still found the last little piece of trim protector
Hmm.
like a
Hmm.
month ago. After owning the car
Hmm.
now for 8 months, I'm like, oh, nope, there's
Exactly.
one in the back
There's more.
corner of the third row. I missed that one.
Hmm. Hmm.
But yeah, so there's lots of
Yeah.
things to peel off. There's extra warnings throughout the
Yes.
car. Is there
And
anything substantially different though
yeah,
between the two
yeah.
models?
Well, okay. This is petty. This is petty. And this is, I can't substantiate this with proof, but it just feels like a corner or two have been cut. And you see my eye doing this little twist right here? It's because the fabric doesn't feel as nice as it did in the 24. The little column where the two charge ports at the front,
Mhm,
and they turn amber and white,
mhm,
depending on whether you're gonna let the passenger charge.
mhm.
It got hot and it popped or something weird like that. One day I got in the car and I heard this pop, and then there's a little gap that I can put my finger in now where the plastic chunks together. And
Mhm.
I'm like, oh, it just feels like it's American made and they've just started ka-chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunking,
So
you
you're
know,
feeling the build quality is taking a step backwards then, it
a
sounds like what you're saying.
slight shuffle, a slight shuffle. It could be that, it was summertime, it's hot, the car was sitting in the heat to begin with on the lot. It could be a number of things, but it was just like, oh, I mean, the car's 6 days old. I got to add 8 miles on it. 6 days old, got in the car one day and it went flip. And it's just a fraction of a hair. It's petty. I know it's petty. But it's like, I see it, and I see it every day. It's all I see now when I drive the damn thing. I'm like, "Oh, there's that stupid little gap," you know? But it does,
When
but
you
the
have a new car, any tiny imperfection drives you
yes,
bonkers. I
bonkers,
got
bonkers.
George when the car was a month or 2 old, and I still see that little kind of imperfection and,
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
where the paint got scratched, and it
Yeah,
still
that's the
bothers me to
worst.
this day. It's like that new pair
That's
of
the
shoes.
worst.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
first one really bothered me, but eventually
yeah.
you'll learn to
You'll
move
be
on.
over it. You still love it. You still love it. But the fabric does feel different.
For the record, we're all nitpicking right now. So
Yes,
anyone considering EV9, we are nitpicking. We're
yes, oh,
nitpicking
yes.
on a great,
Great car,
engineered.
great car, get the car. The car is a good car. It's just yeah, now
Yeah, a
it
little bit of
feels
a
a little
grind
different.
session right here. But hold on. But I have an issue. Speaking of the phone charger, nothing's popped out
Mhm.
due to the heat. But when I charge my phone on the
Oh, on the little
on
pad,
the
yes,
magnetic the mag safe
yeah,
mag whatever you call that thing on the Surface charger,
yes.
it overheats my
Yeah, oh,
phone
it's hot
all the time.
still. Yeah, they haven't fixed that yet. Haven't
It
fixed it.
not.
No, it still
That's a
gets
real
hot.
problem because I've heard other manufacturers, "Oh, this one's ventilated." I'm like, "Ah, that's overkill." I'm like, "No, you need that."
You need it.
My
You need it.
phone in the summer
Mhm,
now, I mean, 10
mhm,
minutes in, it
mhm,
already stops charging.
mhm.
Says it's
Yeah,
overheating, and you can feel it. The phone is hot,
you feel
so
it, yeah, oh, yeah, it generates a lot of heat.
yeah,
Generates a
that's a
lot of
bit
heat.
of a bummer that, I
Mhm.
would say that's almost a flaw that they did
Mm,
not figure that out. I mean, they should have, during
yeah.
testing, realized that everyone's phone is overheating. At least I've
Mhm.
got, an iPhone. The maybe it's with the cover on it. I don't know, but that is something
Mm,
I'm not
nah, yeah.
super happy about. Okay, so we got slight quality control issues,
Mhm.
maybe
Yeah,
fabric, maybe not quite the same
it
quality of
doesn't.
material. Other than that, though, is it the same car essentially?
Yes. Yes, it's the same vehicle. The display is a little different. I've got this thing for YouTube, which again, the kids are interested in. Like, what, you can get YouTube now? I'm like, I don't think so. But I think there's a software update coming where there's YouTube and there's something called entertainment, which you have to go to Kia Connect and purchase. But I think it's dependent on internet connectivity and maybe a subscription that you have to get. And it hasn't happened yet. From what I've read in the Facebook, and I think even on Reddit, is there's something coming down the
Yeah, I mean,
road.
listen, if you see the icons, that means something's coming up. Is that going
Something's
to be
coming.
backwards compatible with the 2024 model that I'm driving, or is that just the newer ones?
I don't know. I
I mean,
don't
I
know.
thought
Well,
that's
we'll
the
find out
whole
together.
point of these sort of basically
Uh,
software defined vehicles, right?
It should
They're
be.
forever
It should.
upgradable, and they should
Yeah.
all kind of be on the same level playing field. Minus obviously minus. I guess there's hardware updates and which make it more challenging to upgrade the software. I know, like, with, Tesla hardware 3, hardware 4, with the full self driving, which gobbles up a lot of,
Yeah.
RAM
Mhm.
and processing power. I know that you can't get the full version of full self driving on the older vehicles, but I don't believe that's the case or that there's been any, hardware upgrade on the EV9s. Now, you're a regular on the Facebook user group, the EV9 Owners USA user group. I've been too busy with this podcast now, so I
Yeah.
have not been actively on it lately. what's the chatter? What are people talking about over there right now? What are some of the some of the gripes, some of the things that still need work, and some of the things that Kia's got right that people are kind of harping about these days?
The big thing is there's a lot of, should I do it? Should I get an EV9? Because people keep hearing about the battery issues. And there's a lot of people that are going through lemon
Well,
law
what
returns.
what battery issues are you referring to?
Not the 12-volt battery. That was an issue early on, where
Yeah.
the small battery would somehow commit.
I heard about that, yeah, but I think it's something that's been
But that's been
resolved.
addressed. It's the big battery pack. Like, people are having faulty battery packs in there for the big battery pack in the vehicle. Their cars are being serviced for months, like
Wow.
months, they're saying. And then they finally get legal people involved and they try to lemon law it. And some of them have had success and had new vehicles, or just left Kia completely and gone on to something else. And some are still entangled in that. So that's one of the big things. Can we jump? I'm sorry. We need to jump for a second.
Uh,
There's one thing I didn't tell you about with regard to the 2026 wind. Oh, I can show you. So now here's the key fob, and maybe you can see.
mhm.
See how it's got the backup. I can back up. That was a GT thing.
Yeah, I have a GT, so yeah.
Yeah. So that wasn't in the wind. That wasn't with the wind in the first one, because I gave me the key fob. I'm like, "Are you sure this is the right key fob?" He's like, "Yeah, it's watch." And he pressed the buttons and he did it.
Not
But
trying to humble brag here, but that's
no,
already
that's
unpacked
fine.
for me. I've
That's
already
fine.
been doing this for a
Us
while.
lonely wind folk have finally come up there.
And I
But
tell you what, it seems like a gimmick, but I
mhm.
realize in my case in particular, my parking spot is really tight. So
Uh-huh.
instead of having to wiggle into your car and open the door halfway, when you're in a tight parking spot, that's really where it comes in handy. It's awesome to be able to pull the car out on its own. It seems like a party trick, but it actually is useful. So yeah, have you had the chance to use it yet?
It's a subscription.
Ah,
So I
they
haven't got the
punked you,
subscription
Todd.
yet
They
for it.
punked you.
That and Boost. But I was seeing also on the forums that a lot of people were getting Boost. Like, they got a new OTA and they suddenly had Boost. And they're like, "What is this Boost thing?" So I don't know if Tia just gave it away for a little while, or what that's all about. But yeah. But no, I haven't tried it yet.
This is something which kind of bothers me where the
Mm,
upsell, you buy the car, you take it home, you've negotiated everything with the dealer, and you come home, it's like, oh, wait, I got to pay more for this. This boost thing is another
yes.
really weird thing because it's just an unlock, right? It's just
Yeah.
them flipping a switch.
Hmm.
The power is there. I did
Hmm.
get the GT model. So, it's just like on principle, I'd have a real hard time paying more for the performance. I did pay more for
Yeah.
the performance up front.
Hmm.
But that being said, when the car's got all the power that it can
Hmm.
deliver,
Hmm.
that car holds ass. That is a great party trick. When I have someone new in the car for the first time, I go, "Put your head back on the headrest right now. We're going places."
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
always opens up people's eyes. It's not like it's the fastest car on the planet. 0 to 60, 4.7 seconds. It still will get your attention. And for a
Hmm.
three-row SUV, that for me is a car
To
that
move
still
that
holds
bulk
ass.
that fast. Yeah. That's what it is that bulk, and just vroom. Yeah. Hmm.
But I
So
imagine
yeah.
without the boosts, you're probably still getting 0 to 60 in the 5 to 6 second range. Are you familiar with what the numbers actually are?
I don't really play with it that much, because I'm a range hawk. So I'm always trying to get, two and a half,
You don't have that lip foot
2.93.
that I
And
have, yeah.
yeah, I'm trying to get range. So I don't really mess with it too much. But yeah. Every now and then at the stoplight, like just last night, I had to jump into a lane. So I just kind of hit it and jumped ahead. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
It's
does what it
still
needs to
it's
do.
still without the boost, it's still got adequate
Yeah.
performance.
Oh yeah.
I know that,
Definitely.
but yeah, when you have the GT model or if you feel like subscribing to get the
Hmm.
boost,
Hmm.
it
Hmm.
now that I'm spoiled with it, I can't see giving that up.
You
So
won't give it away. You won't let that power go.
no, it's fun. And I'm
Mhm.
about range too. It depends on my mood, but so I'm an
But you're
old
Lewis and
school
Clark, man.
gearhead. I
You're
like
Lewis and
sports.
Clark. You're mapping the way for us, for the rest of us.
But listen, but while we're on gripes right now, there is
Uh-huh.
another one that I'm going to
Mhm.
add, which I
Okay.
remember was a quite common thing on the forums, and maybe you've seen this kind of more updates on where this is going.
Mhm.
There was a gripe you heard it. I saw people post. They did polls
Mhm.
saying, "My Kia EV9 vibrates at high speed. Am I the
Oh,
only
yeah.
one out there?" Because a lot of
Mhm.
other people have chimed in and say, "Yeah, this is a problem. Not
Mhm.
every EV9 has this vibration at high speed." It turns out mine was one of them. And
Mhm.
I've seen lots of people complain about it, and they're saying, "Oh, it's the tires. There's some foam insulation on these EV specific tires. The glue gets, basically is deteriorated. Maybe that's it, or there's moisture caught in here." Yada, yada, yada. I've heard everyone, not everyone, I've heard lots of people
There's
say,
lots.
"This was
Lot.
my problem. This is what I believe is the solution." And maybe it fixed it, maybe it didn't. My car, Kia, has no solution to it right now. So now I'm 8, 9 months into ownership. I've gone back 4 times. I've got the Better Business Bureau involved. I'm basically trying to get the car lemon right now. I'm waiting now. We've reconvened now. It's the second hearing. The first time I got the Better Business Bureau to intervene. And the one nice thing about Kia is like they tried to fix the problem several times. The dealership, and eventually the dealership said, "I give up. We can't figure out what this is. Call it Kia USA." The problem is if you start going down this rabbit hole, Kia USA takes them forever to escalate it to say, "All right, no, this is a serious issue," because they have to communicate with the dealership. The dealership and them, there's this is goes on for weeks and into months, back and forth, back
Mhm.
and forth, back and forth. The
Mhm.
dealership's like, "No, Kia USA is supposed to get back to you." Kia USA is like, "No, the dealership is." Finally, we got them to make a third attempt, and like I said, they couldn't do it, and they said, "We've got to bring in a tech." I said, "Okay, fine, bring in a tech and see, from like, from once again Kia USA, from the national, the actual, the headquarters. Fine, bring in the tech. Let's do it." And then they ghosted me, and that's when I brought. But they said, "If you have a problem, reach out to Better Business Bureau." I'm like, "Okay, fine, I'm going to do that." So I reached out to Better Business Bureau. They basically ordered Kia within 30 days to service the vehicle with the tech. Took them 60 days, but they did it, or maybe 45 days. It was longer than 30. I don't want to basically misrepresent what happened. It was
Yeah,
longer
sure.
than 30 days, but whatever. They got it done. They got a tech to visit the dealership. They had my car for, I don't know, 2 weeks. They gave it back. They said, "Mr. Hoffman, your Kia is repaired. We fixed the problem." Take it up to highway speed for the first time, not fixed. It's still there, like 100% still there, just as bad as it always has been. They've rotated, they've rebalanced, they've swapped out the rubber. They can't figure it out. And it's a real bummer because, and now that we've reconvened and I said, "Listen, I want the car lemoned. I'll happily take another one. I love this car.
Mhm.
I just
Okay,
don't want
okay.
this specific
That
one that
well,
I own
that
right
that
now.
one, but a Kia EV9, just not the one I'm currently in.
Just not the one I'm currently driving. Give my money back or you give me a new one, but I just don't want this one
Mhm.
because it does drive me nuts at highway speed that this thing
Mm.
continues to vibrate, and I do a lot of long road trips. So, yeah, so my advice to any Kia EV9 prospective owner is take that car for a test drive at highway speeds, 70 or
Yes.
above, and
Yes.
make sure you're not getting that vibration because I know
Yes.
I'm not alone on this. Have you seen other people chiming about this recently, or maybe this was just a problem with the early run 2024s? I'm not quite sure if this is still an issue today.
That's a great question because there are people now with 25s on the Facebook as well. I can't recall if the 25s are saying the same thing that the 24s were saying. Is it an engineering thing? I don't know.
Just assumed it was something in the manufacturing
Mhm.
process, but
Mhm.
something that's deeper than the wheel itself, farther into maybe it's the motor or something like that, or
Some
so the joint.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not an engineer. It's not fair for me to speculate. What I do know is what they're trying to their repair attempts have not been successful, and
It's
that's a
successful.
bit of a
That's
bummer
Yeah,
about
that's
that.
good.
Still to be continued, by the way. I've been kind of almost waiting for this to be completely resolved before I really spoke about it. But since I got you on the line over here, I figured it's time for an update. But yeah, we'll see. Where I'm waiting on the decision now. I know Kia wanted to the hearing when the Better Business Bureau has a hearing, they can show up and it's a video call. They can actually have a representative appear there, or they can submit something in writing. And they did submit something in writing literally minutes before we were to hop on the call. they did submit something, and they said we'd like one more attempt to repair it, which will be attempt number 5. So I'm like, ah, and this is, this will last months and months and months like it did the last time. So I'm like, I don't want to go through that. So I told the arbitrator, I just want this car lemoned,
Mhm.
waiting on his decision still. So to be continued.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Well, I do
What
hope that that
else?
works out for you. I hope it works out.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's a first world problem, but when you kind of
But
look
still,
for,
when you're in the vehicle with your family driving like that, you don't want those issues. You don't want
it's
the
like this is like when I had my first jalopy when I was 17 years
yeah.
old. That, my dad bought for me for $500.
Mhm,
Sure,
mhm,
that car could
mhm.
vibrate, and I was just happy I was riding
You were
down
just
the
happy to be
highway.
driving.
It was a
Exactly.
1975 Toyota Celica. It's just like egg beater. And it's just like gas fumes come, literally gas
Mhm,
fumes.
mhm.
The tank
Oh
was
my.
leaking.
Oh
It
my.
was there was not a perfect seal on that gas tank, and you could smell fumes in there. And 17-year-old me, I didn't care,
You
man. I
didn't
had
care.
four
You
wheels. I
didn't
was
care.
driving. I was just like, I'll just roll the
Mhm.
window down.
Exactly.
But those were my salad days, and I've kind of come a long way since then. So yeah, I want a car that
Mhm.
doesn't vibrate on highway speeds, especially
Exactly.
a premium vehicle like the EV9 GT line, which is a nice car. It's an awesome
Mhm,
car,
mhm.
on so many different levels. It's the most luxurious car I've ever owned, with the heated ventilated seats, the ambient
Mhm.
lighting. The list goes on. You get the massage
Yes.
function. The list goes on and on and on.
Yes. Yes.
It's a wonderful, amazing car. All right, Kia, get that vibration straight, please. Help me out here, one way or the other. I'm,
Yes.
I'm
Figure
begging.
that one out.
I want to say lots of good things. Unfortunately, I just had to take this road over here for this podcast, but hopefully, we'll be back with an update. Okay, so is there anything else right now? What would you tell a friend that was thinking about buying an EV9 today?
I would say that it is one of the best vehicles in that class. Let's move the family around. There's a third row. That's a usable third row. Range is very good. I still wish we could get lucid range, but that's a whole other.
Well, you
You
want a
know,
lucid range, you got to pay
you got to
lucid
pay lucid
prices.
money. But anyway, it does very well for what it is. I know people gripe about the onboard navigation. It's serviceable. It does what it needs to do. The infotainment system is very nice. I do like the vehicle. Very sturdy, very solid on the road. Feels good. And they gave us, well, you'll again because you got the GT. The Wind now has the rear view blind spot little
Oh,
cameras
you
under
didn't
the.
have that before.
No, no, it's a whole new world. I'm like in Disney now,
They didn't charge you extra for it. You don't have to subscribe for that view.
No, there's no subscription for those. No, no, those work right from day one, and it's a very nice feature. It caused my insurance to go down a little bit,
Oh, that's
so it's very
awesome.
nice. Yeah, it was very
That's a
nice.
double
Very
win.
nice feature.
Yeah,
Yes, yes, yes,
actually,
indeed.
there is something that we talked about offline that I want to bring up right now.
Mhm, mhm,
You're okay with the navigation. I'm not the biggest fan of it
mhm,
on a
mhm,
lot of different reasons. I
mhm,
think their UI is okay.
mhm,
It does things well enough.
mhm,
I use my Apple CarPlay all the time. I'm a big fan of that. And I just discovered recently that this CarPlay Ultra is
mhm.
coming out soon. And you told me that Kia is going to adopt it. Is that correct?
It's on the list. Kia, Hyundai are on the list. They started with Aston Martin, which
Yeah.
is an Apple thing to do,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
at the
yeah.
same time, I mean, whatever. But it looks incredible.
It does.
But yeah, super excited. The hope is that it's backwards compatible and that they don't use that as a carrot to, because
Get
that's
the
not
newer model
fair.
still. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not fair because there's literally no change. It's 12 some odd inches, the exact same real estate as the 24,
Hmm.
looks exactly, I mean, aside from that addition of the entertainment and the YouTube icons,
Hmm.
it's exactly the same. But yes, very excited to see what this Ultra will do. We talked in the first episode that we talked about how Kia was kind of phoning it in, literally because they were banking on the fact that everyone that had an EV at that price point had a phone, and they were
Yeah.
either going to Android or CarPlay. But still, I don't know what it is. Matt from Chargeway had said something about how Apple is kind of Faustian about there, when you get into the Apple ecosystem. And I'm sorry, man, I don't mean to take your words out of context, so please forgive me. I don't mean it as harsh as it sounds, but Apple just is very, because it's a closed architecture.
Yes.
There's a way you play with Apple to your road to success. Which anecdotally, when I got the EV9 to 2026 and went to add my car into the ChargeWay subscription that I had, it wasn't there. I quickly wrote support, and they got it dealt with
Boom.
within a matter of
Wonderful.
days, and it's very nice, and it's seamlessly integrated in, and it's NACS. It now looks for NACS chargers for me as opposed to
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing. They have not updated my software, which I'm just kind of
Mhm,
mind boggled that they can't put the search function for Tesla Superchargers in
mhm.
my car yet. It
Yeah,
doesn't come up. It's not an option. It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
how hard is that? That should be within their reach. And now the superchargers have been open to us for months and months and months now.
Mhm, mhm,
And there was a software update recently. I think it was more of a bug fix than anything else. And no, they did
mhm.
not address that. Yet again, cannot use the internal, navigation software for route support here because it does not show me all the chargers.
Chargers that are available to you,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. So
That's disappointing.
nitpick once again, but this Apple, this Ultra CarPlay, this should be an amazing addition if and when it comes.
Mhm.
Because once again, this is just not UI is just not Kia's forte. It's just not their thing. They're like I said, it's good, but you're expecting better with a car that does everything else so incredibly well.
Well,
So
eh
yeah, looking forward to
eh
that day as well. Hopefully soon.
exactly, exactly, yeah, and it is mind-boggling because if you use the model of Tesla, which is mythical at this point, aside from the fact that they shut out Apple CarPlay initially, right, for years, I
Did Kia
understand.
do that? I mean, I know
No, 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 Tesla did.
GM does not allow
Yeah, GM
CarPlay
was
in its
divorced
vehicles,
from
right?
from Apple CarPlay as well, and it's probably because of the Faustian deal.
Of course it is.
But,
Well,
uh
this is one of those things. Open the aperture, and you realize that
mhm,
software-defined vehicles, all EVs are very technologically advanced products. The auto manufacturers, they want their own walled garden. They don't like to play well with others. That's number one. But they've never been software specialists to begin with. Famously, Volkswagen software was hot garbage on all the
mm,
ID series, especially the early models, which is
mhm,
why speculation that they bought a big chunk of Rivian because they, like Tesla, do technology, right? The UX, the UI. It's a great user experience. And I think they've just kind of given up the ghost, say, we can't do this. They
mhm,
can. We own them now, and we're going to integrate this technology into our cars, which would be the smart move. And perhaps Kia, which is doing a lot right, but once
mhm,
again, here's their Achilles heel.
mm,
The navigation software and their UI in general is just
lacking
borderline
behind.
substandard. All right, maybe we do get into bed and make that Faustian deal with
Mm,
Apple and say, all right, fine, we're gonna give them a small piece of the pie and now be forever married because we're never gonna surpass them. But why do I own an Apple iPhone? Because of the UX and the UI, because the user experience and the interface is superior to everything out there. All right, I'm sorry
yes.
for all the Android owners
Yeah,
out
yeah.
there. I don't mean
It
that.
it yeah.
To yeah, to metaphorically pee in your Cheerios. But yeah, I'm an Apple guy. All right, so I like Apple better.
Yes, yes, and it's seamless for the most part. There aren't many pains at this point. I mean, I can remember getting an iPhone 4 and, some of the stuff that was not quite worked out yet,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
now you don't even think about it. You literally open it up and it finds everything in the room that's Apple.
yeah.
Like upon turning it on, and you don't have to pair, and it's just fantastic. But
It's a seamless experience, and that's what I expect now in my car. And now I get a
yes,
taste of it with the
yes,
Yeah, the problem is
yes.
also with CarPlay is it's just kind of handcuffed also, right? There's a
Mhm.
lot of features that are limited, right, in the name of safety. I'm assuming that with Ultra they're going to open it up a little more to
A
let you
little
kind of
more.
interact more, through the car itself. That's the only gripe I have with the current version of CarPlay is just those limitations.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
I know we're two tech geeks here kind of geeking out on this
Well, just
stuff, and I
yeah.
know we could go
Mhm,
on forever.
mhm,
We're both probably it sounds like we're both preaching to the choir. But yes, the Ultra CarPlay, that is definitely the breakthrough, the watch. When that comes out, that's going to once again enhance the experience. and make the EV9, which is already an incredible vehicle, that much more superior, which is really exciting stuff.
Yes.
Okay, Todd. So that just about does it for time today. Really want to, really want to thank you for being on the show and sharing your experiences. You are the EV9 guru, and I do feel that we're going to have an excuse to have you back here soon.
I'm very honored. I love it. And I do hope that I can have another experience as a guest. I will say this one last thing. I would recommend the EV9 to a friend. The 2026 is a solid addition in the line. Yeah, if we can get that range bumped up just a little bit, I
Just a little
really
bit.
think
Just a little bit.
325 should be our minimum to get in and up. We should
By the
really
way, Todd,
350,
the Ionic 9, which I
hmm,
mentioned earlier, has a bigger battery, and the
that,
range is up in the 320 range or so,
yeah,
315, 320, which I feel is a massive difference from where
yes,
we are in the high
yes.
200s.
Twos,
I
two
just
to
need that
20.
extra
Yeah.
40, 50 miles. It will come
Mhm.
in so it will
Yes.
so come in handy on road trips.
Yes.
You realize, both of us realize, that sometimes charging to 80%, which you do on a road trip, you're not quite ready to pull over when you need to pull over for your next
Mhm.
charge.
Yes.
An
Yes.
extra 40 or 50 miles, I will absolutely be ready every time.
Would be
Yeah,
fantastic. Would be fantastic. And if they can start addressing that for 27 model year up, I think they'll really have something there. I really
agreed.
do. Until I'm going to say this is blasphemy. I'm sorry. Until Rivian decides that they're going to come into that 60K market. When
Yeah,
Rivian comes,
yeah,
oh,
look out.
yeah, yeah. I love my EV9. I love it. But if I could 65,
Yeah, trust me, I know.
oh,
It's Rivian makes an incredibly compelling product, and I'm not going to go to the dealership and test drive one until I know I can afford one.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
everything on paper, just it passes the sniff test. It seems like
Mhm.
it's an incredible vehicle to own. All right, we're both going to dare the dream on that
Yes,
one.
on that
Todd,
one.
once again, thank you so much for being on the show and sharing your experiences with us. For more EV insight and commentary, a reminder to follow us here or on your favorite social media streaming platform. Like, subscribe, and be sure to share with your friends and colleagues. Your review or feedback is always appreciated. The road to sustainability starts at the plug, and that's why we're here. We will see you all next week on a new episode of the Urban EV Podcast. All right, quick update for all those that made it this far. I've discussed my issues with my EV9 quite a few times over the last few podcasts over the year. This podcast was recorded back in July 2025. It is October 2025 right now, and a lot has happened. I have covered this on another podcast, but just in case you missed it, my EV9 was eventually declared a lemon. The Better Business Bureau ordered Kia to take it back. They had made, once again, as mentioned, 4 or 5 attempts to repair it. The vibration issue, they could not figure it out, and so the car did go back. It was a bittersweet moment. I did end up purchasing, or leasing, I should say, a Tesla Model Y Juniper. Managed to get the lease in right before the tax credit went away, so got a nice $7,500 rebate on that as well. We are absolutely loving the Tesla experience. We are absolutely missing the third row that we gave up with the EV9. Once again, this vibration issue, I believe it's only affecting, it seems like, a small percentage of their vehicles. I'm not quite sure if they figured out a solution or not, but when you go on the message boards, you do see other people complaining about it as well. So whatever it is, that's going to be Kia's problem, and let the buyer beware. Once again, small percentage problem, but I'd be very cognizant of it if you were going to purchase a new EV9 or a used one. Just take it for a test drive at highway speeds. Once again, small percentage chance it'll affect yours, but you want to make sure that yours is not one of those. Otherwise, that's it. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in to the Urban EV Podcast, and we will see you all next week with a brand new episode.